Hello everyone, and welcome back to the 17th episode of the Diary of an Endodontist. And today we'll be talking about conservative access cavities, so stay with me. This patient was referred to me, and as you can see on the CBCT, there is a very large periradicular radiolucency on the upper right 5. The patient has been experiencing pain from this tooth, and as you can see, the root filling doesn't look too bad. It's important to notice that the cervical bone is intact, meaning that it may not be a case of a cracked tooth, but probably an untreated canal or residual canal. And that's exactly what it is. The palatal canal was untreated, leaving residual bacteria, which explains the contamination apically. So what we suggested to the patient, as the crown was a new crown, we suggested the access cavity through the crown. You need to be careful because premolars are quite prone to fracture, upper premolars. And what you need to do is to be very conservative accessing that cavity through the crown, because the other thing, you don't want the crown to fracture. So lots of water when you are drilling into the porcelain. We retreated the canal, and as you can see, there is enough porcelain on in all directions. So the tooth was strong enough with that crown. The access was very small, enough just to see the canals. We then retreated it. You can see how dark and how wide that infection is. The access cavity shouldn't be any wider than the canals. There is enough core is still on that tooth. And we just warned the patient about the decay, the caries inside under the amalgam filling on the upper right 6, and explained to the patient that could go to necrosis and needed a root canal treatment if it's not already, because I can see widening of the apical ligament. So the tooth was still vital, and we suggested that the patient to have that treated, electively treated, because it needed a crown. 12 months later, the tooth, as you can see, caries got a little bit wider and the tooth became symptomatic. And we could see healing from this tooth here, the upper right 5, so good healing. Patient was absolutely happy and now ready for the root canal treatment on the upper right 6. The patient was already aware of the 7 needing retreatment as well, but he wanted to do one thing at a time. The retreatment was done for the 6, and 18 months we could check that the healing was getting there. It's a very big lesion, so it takes time for the bone to get mature. But what I normally say is once we start seeing healing, that will carry on healing, because the bacteria in that area, when you have bacteria, the bone doesn't grow. So the bone will only grow in the absence of bacteria. So once it's under control, then you have bone healing, and you don't really need to do lots of reviews because it will carry on healing as long as everything is fine and there is no coronal leakage. I hope you have enjoyed this case, and I hope you look after those access cavities so you don't start enlarging them unnecessarily. Because if you enlarge them, you put the tooth at risk, mainly cervically, where is the weakest point of the tooth. So be careful with your access cavity. Don't forget to use magnification as well, otherwise it's quite difficult for you to see with those small access cavities. Thank you very much. And stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.